We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
All that I know is I'm falling, 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 falling.
I don't know about this God you say you fear deep inside. I just know a God who gives me love, light, and pride. All that I know is I'm falling, 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 crowning. I don't know about these.
What up? We're back for another special Friday, Los Angeles Today. Here we go again. What up? I like that. Free Falling, Ivy Soul on Los Angeles Today. LA Talk Live. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. Falling, falling. You not gonna sing for us?
About this love y'all say sometimes can just come
I like
true.
that. That's
but
real.
I know about this hurt, the kind that breaks a heart.
Real mellow.
All that I know is I'm falling, 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 falling. I don't know if I say those words that you need to hear, but I know that there's no place I'd rather be than here.
Wow.
All that I know is
that's real cool.
I was like, oh my God.
We got my special co-host, Patriana, keeping it candid in the house. What up?
Man, when I was listening to this song on SoundCloud, by the way, go check out their SoundCloud. It's like really, really dope.
That's dope.
I mean, SoundCloud is where it's at. I'm telling y'all, like, it's for the win. It's so many amazing artists on there that just, have not yet been afforded the publicity that they
duly deserve.
That they exactly.
Because that's hot right there.
It's super hot. I fell asleep to this song. I had it on repeat. I probably listened to it like 25 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, before I fell asleep. So I'm a little obsessed, but
what woke you up this morning?
This song.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, but
I like your hat.
Thanks. It's really just covering up a bad hair day, guys.
Oh,
but it's all right. We're gonna keep it candid like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of keeping it candid. Okay, so this month, Keeping It Candid is coming forth on the 22nd, y'all. We return with another round of wine and tacos and candid.
We're going to have some chicken tacos this time?
Oh, you know what? We're going to get into that. Yes. Look, we're going to get into that because it's something very, very interesting that occurred. But I'm going to wait until both of our guests are here today because I just had like this really interesting experience. But before we get into that, let me tell you guys what our topic this month is. It's on rape culture. Okay.
We got heated last time, remember?
Yes. Yes.
A lot of the audience didn't really like what I had to say.
Yeah, because you were being an apologist, but
unapologist. Okay,
you were unapologetic about your apologizing, basically.
Go ahead.
But
let me let you do your
but
thing.
okay, but the Keeping It Candid forum is going to be on rape culture. But of course, we had to like really, think about exactly what aspects of it we wanted to cover because rape culture is so broad.
Very broad.
Yeah, so the elements that we decided that we wanted to explore for this forum is college rape, bar culture, slut shaming, the question of consent, and then a really, really interesting term that I came across, which is gray rape. And gray rape refers...
Gray rape?
Yes, gray rape refers to...
You mean when it's right there and she said yes and then all of a sudden she changes her mind and says no?
That falls under gray rape. Yeah,
that's like, real gray.
It's like that gray line.
That's real gray.
It's non-stereotypical rapes. So rape is always seen as being like really violent, done by a stranger. And gray rape refers to situations which perhaps the rape was not brutal or necessarily violent. It could have been by an acquaintance in the situation where you said, well, perhaps you guys were intimate, but the woman did not want to go full way and the guy still persists. It's considered gray rape. It's rape that it's rape, but
it's in the gray area.
It's a gray line of consent because the consent was not established. And there are circumstantial things.
Circumstances.
There are circumstances within that.
It's hard to prove that one.
Yeah.
Your conscience knows.
Yeah, I mean,
Your conscience will know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still
I'm gonna be
obvious.
ganged up on today. Oh my!
I think it's
God.
obvious still
Obviously.
that it's rape. You know, it's because consent is not there. It's just a gray line because it's not stereotypical, which is it's not violent and it's not by a stranger. Perhaps you know the individual. You could be your boyfriend. It could be your ex. It could be a number of people that you are acquainted with. And yes, a lot of times it's not a lot of circumstantial evidence to prove that the rape occurred, which is why in those gray rape cases, a lot of people get off, which is quite unfortunate. And we'll actually go into that a little bit today as well. It's just the way that our justice system in general is not set up for rape cases, because rape is a crime that, unless extremely violent and unless I mean, you're like extremely bruised up and there's just, all of this evidence on you, it's very hard to prove.
You know why I think so, though?
That the rape occurred.
You remember that case where that football player got accused of rape and the girl came back on and they found out that she lied and he spent a lot of time in jail. He lost his football career and everything.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong.
I think that plays a big part.
That's a valid part as well.
I think that it does play a part. You know what, though? Before we get like super into this conversation, because we're gonna dive in.
Right.
I'm gonna
I
go
was
ahead
ready to go on this
and
one.
introduce one of our very special guests. We do have another bright woman coming in today as well. She's gonna be here in the next like 10 to 15 minutes. We're gonna introduce her in a little bit. But I want to introduce to you guys Ashley Coffey. Coffey, correct?
Yeah, perfect.
Yay! Okay,
Ashley.
Ashley.
What's up?
Ashley Coffey
I like your hair
is
wrap.
a wonderful activist and writer who works with a lot of nonprofit organizations. She focuses on a number of important social issues, but I actually brought her onto the show specifically today because I just wanted her her point of view and perspective when it comes to liberation, sexual liberation, but also rape culture. And when I say rape culture, we are aware that it does not just affect women, it affects men as well, because men can be victims to rape and sexual assault, and unfortunately a lot of times it is downplayed when the male is the victim. So we're going to just try to discuss as much as this as possible. So without further ado, can we get like another big round of applause for Ashley? And
I'll add into it too.
So before we just go in a little bit, Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into everything that you do as far as your writing and your activism.
Yeah, absolutely. So I first actually began in music PR. So I did a lot of music PR for musicians.
She was working with Beyonce, y'all.
No, not quite Beyonce, but more like Kelly Rowland, YG.
She up there. Kelly was up there.
Kelly's up there.
And YG too.
We can never forget. Yeah, LA. We're in LA. YG reps it. So yeah, that was my background, working in that field and helping out people in the entertainment industry, which is beautiful within itself. But then I realized that there's a whole other group of people that need help.
Yeah.
Specifically the people that we're talking about today, whether that be women, whether that be better educating men and women on the issues that can happen in these gray area situations at a certain point. And I feel like now is the time to get my voice out there and to make sure that everyone feels protected.
Absolutely. Well, we do love and admire that, and today will be the perfect platform for you to voice those opinions and perspectives and to educate everybody.
Absolutely.
So we are going to just continue where we left off before we had to introduce your beautiful present.
Appreciate it.
No problem. So hold on right quick. Steve, are you present?
I'm present.
Oh, okay.
Tinder swiping or what?
Are you over there on Tinder? Maybe
I don't fool with that.
What is it? Blacksoulmeet.com, Black Soulmates.
I'm not on neither one. I don't need that. I don't.
Okay, well, just making you on your phone.
I was fixing it.
Are you present?
I had already turned it down.
Are you present?
I love a woman that speaks her mind.
Are you present?
Yeah, then we can go back to it's a lot of better things a woman can do with her mouth.
Excuse me?
No way.
Do not stop. Mr. Vaughn, I'm going to tell you right now.
Explain yourself. You can't just say that.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you right now. What?
Get them up.
Yeah, because you will get beat up. When it comes to women.
Little Caesar.
When it comes to women,
I let you do your
I do
thing.
not play.
I let you do your thing.
Do not say problematic shit.
You know that's my thing.
Do not say problematic shit.
I'm gonna make it spicy. I'm gonna keep it spicy, baby.
I do not allow caping. He will get caught out for every problematic thing he says. No.
Fair enough.
Cape Cod.
All right, Lee Daniels. That's Lee Daniels right there. But you know what? We're not going to allow you to.
I don't get down like I don't get down like Lee
Daniels.
Nah.
Against women. So,
I love women.
That's what they all say.
Especially black women.
In the midst of oppressing us.
I would never oppress a black woman.
So.
You know that.
So, in this conversation of rape culture and gray areas, Ms. Vaughn, you were going to say something before we stopped the conversation. What were you about to say in regards to situations of gray rape?
Well, it gets very complicated. So you're with a woman, you guys are cool, and you guys are in the bed, you guys playing around, messing around, doing whatever, and it's yes, and it's no, and it's yes, and I don't know, and this, and then it happens, and then maybe there's some regret, or maybe the guy didn't give her the attention afterwards, and now next thing you know, now it's rape. Now you took it.
I think it's about intent. As the man in that situation, what was your intent going into that situation?
What was the woman's intent, though?
That's part of it as well, but I'm just asking right now.
It's more of the man, or is it equal?
Equal. That's what I'm asking.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
you.
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, when it comes to matters of regret, though, regret is a different emotion than that of a victim, someone who's been taken advantage of. But
we were talking about gray area.
No, I get that. But see, in the situation, if I consent to having sex with you, and then after the sex, maybe the sex wasn't fulfilling, or maybe it happened, or maybe
but that's not what I'm.
Later, or
that's not what I'm talking about.
Maybe I had sex with the intention of, okay, it will make him be with me, and then he doesn't be with me, and then at that point I feel guilty and regretful, and then I'm like, well, I mean, honestly, I didn't know if I really wanted to do it. That is not.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That is what you were talking about.
No.
They were in the bed.
Let me
you
clarify.
Said you were in the bed, and then it was a yes, no, and then it happened, and then there's guilt.
But when you lead up to that, that happens. You know how many times
that's happened? But if there's
happened?
A yes, no, yes.
You know how many times that's happened?
Because yes was the final.
Not if you got older, but when you're young. When I was younger, that happened a lot, and a lot of girls just got talked out the panties, and it happened. Yeah.
So in that situation, how do we better educate people in that situation? How do we teach people to move forward and to make sure those gray area situations don't happen?
I think both parties need to take responsibilities. I think women need to really think about being clear before they go into a bedroom, and maybe start exposing, more of how they feel than they really should in the beginning. Like, if you're not quite sure about having sex with a man, you really shouldn't go into a bedroom with him with the lights off and start getting hot and heavy with him, because you put yourself in a situation where something might happen. And let me finish, and I'm gonna let you go. Then on the man's side, the man should be like, hey, listen, if a woman says no, he should have enough control over himself to say, you know what, hey, let me just back off and leave it alone, because I don't want any miscommunications, or I don't want any problems. But that's not really in the ideal situation. That's not really the way it works.
Well,
that's not true, though. I'm sorry. I just want to say really quick. That's actually not true. As a woman who practices celibacy and who does not have sex,
do you put yourself in situations like that?
Absolutely, I do. And the reason why,
you a tease.
No, I'm not a tease.
You a tease.
Enough with the labels. Enough.
You a tease. I'm not a tease like a motherfucker.
I'm not a tease, and I'm not going to allow that type of terminology because it is very problematic. So, like I said,
I'm gonna be problematic today because
No,
I would
you're
look
not.
at you. I would look at you as being a tease,
and
I'd be
I would
like,
look
"Come
at
on,
you as
baby."
being an emotionally immature person who
Well,
thinks that they're entitled to penetration just because we are in an intimate space. No, you
Ooh,
are not
I like
entitled to
that. I
penetration.
like that.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, I like that.
when I am hanging out with perhaps a lover, perhaps someone that I was intimate with at some part of my life, they are aware that I am celibate. They are aware that regardless of what happens in this intimate space, no matter how heavy we get, penetration is not on the table. And I also do not deal with people who are emotionally immature and who are not able to control themselves and who cannot respect
But you
and
never
objectify
How could
my
you know
wishes.
that? How could you know that?
What do you mean? How do I know that?
How can you know how mature somebody is? See, in the beginning of your statement, right? You said that somebody who you may have been intimate with, who knows that you're celibate and understands that.
Correct.
But if you take someone who doesn't know you, who you just met, you kind of attracted to him. You say, "Well, I'm gonna hang out with them." You guys end up in the car. You guys end up back at the house or whatever. You guys are playing around and messing around. You have no idea if that person is mature enough to think like that. And you could be putting yourself in a situation alone with them,
you're not well acquainted
where
with that individual.
where you could end up raped.
You're not well acquainted with that individual.
So I would advise just going home and saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going back to your house. I'm going to drop you off." But in your immediate statement before that, you were like, "I tell whoever I'm going out with that I'm celibate. I'm this. I'm that."
Yes,
I'm that.
but let me go further into that.
Wait a minute. Then you said you don't deal with someone who's not mature. And my thing to saying that is that when you're speaking out here and you're hearing a lot of women hear that, you have to be very, 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 very clear on what you mean by that, because I think you maybe could take a chance with somebody who you've been intimate with, but even with that, they could be like, "Baby, we've been intimate before already," and that could still lead and go down a path where it could end up not the way you want it. So I think
whose fault is that in that situation?
No, and I just hold on.
Well,
let me address.
We all need to be 100% responsible 100% of the time.
Yes, but let me.
And if you know that you're not ready to risk having sex, I think that women should keep a boundary and a space.
That's where I don't agree at. So
I know you don't.
This is why I don't agree with it, because in my statement where I said I don't deal with people who do not reflect emotional maturity, what I mean by that is, for instance, you were saying, "Oh, well, no, like you shouldn't put yourself in a space where, you can possibly," and the thing is, like, no, that's a very sexually immature statement. But you're not going to cut me off. I'm going to finish. I'll let you finish. And the reason why is this. So, for instance, a person who I spent a night with, I spent a night with him, right? So we were intimate once, but prior to us being intimate that one time, he, before I really, really knew him that well, we'd had, many conversations. And he is he's very much for women, and he's very educated on rape culture. In fact, he invites me to rape culture events all the time and has provided me with numerous links on it all the time. So, for instance, with that individual,
that's not the norm.
For that individual,
that's not the normal guy who's educated on rape culture. And
hold on, for that individual, right? He's come into my personal space many, many times. Prior to us being sexually intimate, we've slept naked with each other plenty of times, and no penetration was forced, because he understood that when I said no matter how hot and heavy it was, no meant no. And I would just be like, "Are you ready to go to sleep?" And he's like, my dick's kind of hard right now.
The world
but
needs more men like that.
My dick is kind of hard right now.
But we don't have more men like that.
And here's the thing, but he's like that because he's well educated and well versed in the subject, which is why forms are important. And I will say that after we were intimate, about 2 weeks after that, I pledged celibacy, and I told him that, and he didn't shame me. He didn't feel like he was entitled to my body because we were sexually active. He was just like, "Why would you want to?" We're
talking about two completely.
No,
things.
we're not. No, we're not. Because
we're talking about.
We're talking about. Let me finish.
We're talking about putting yourself.
If you would let me finish, you would.
We're talking about putting yourself in a position.
You would see where I'm going. So he just agreed with it. He's like, "Okay, I mean, I can't lie and say I'm not disappointed, because it's good, but that's your right to your body, okay." And then after that, that after I explained to him that I was celibate, he's been over my house on multiple occasions. We still sleep naked together. We'll still make out. And you know what? When it gets hot and heavy, he's the one who's like, okay, you know what? Because it was like one time I was like, oh my God, you know what? Like, I need some dick in my life. And he was like, nah, you know what? Honestly, things are like really heavy right now, but in the morning, I know you're gonna regret it. I know you're gonna regret breaking your celibacy. So let's just keep it calm. He was like, because let's just relax. And I'm like, wow, thank you for that, because he had that knowledge that I did not want to do that. And that's a great area too, whereas I never said he could penetrate me, but my body and actions were very inviting. You get what I'm saying? But
that's a great teachable moment too. You realize how much of a teacher you are in that moment to men who previously didn't understand, and now you brought that new moment of awareness.
And he was like, he said, "Wow, that's so interesting. This is a great area."
That is interesting.
And I said, I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because your body is so inviting, but you still have not verbally gave me consent, so I don't feel comfortable penetrating you, even though we're naked, and I could very easily."
So even though the body's saying
and
yes,
we had an interesting
the mouth
conversation.
needs to say yes.
Which made me go and research grave rape, that terminology, just based off like that incident. And what's and the guy is gorgeous, and I'm not even saying, like, literally the guy is gorgeous,
So what do you?
He has so many female friends, so many people are after him, and he's not the one who's like, oh, I'm entitled to women because all the women love me, and women actually love him. Like, he's gorgeous. So if someone,
I never said anything about being entitled to anything. I just said that was
that was a very situation.
That was a very educated situation. That was
it takes sexual and emotional maturity.
That was a very educated situation.
Use logic in a moment of
But what
passion.
I'm asking you is, how many women are educated and how many men are really educated on that level? This is what you do. That's what he does.
Right. So you have to do. He wasn't always educated. I was not. I have not always been educated on rape culture. It's new for me.
So basically, what you're saying is that
people have. You have to educate.
We need to get educated.
Forums. You host forums. You start discussions about it. On my Facebook page, all I do is post, hey guys, what do you think about this? Hey guys, have you heard of great rape? Hey guys, and people are commenting like, wow, I never heard of that rape. Guys inbox me like, wow, that's really interesting. Can you send me articles? Because who thinks about that? Unless somebody is right in front of your face saying I was sexually assaulted, you don't really think, it's just like, this is terrible concept that you know of. But unless it's like in your face constantly, very few people go out and explore. So you're saying
that women have been sexually assaulted and they don't even know they've been sexually assaulted?
Absolutely.
It's possible.
Yeah, and it was really interesting when I had brought up a conversation of gray rape. It was a lot of women who had commented, and they were like, wow, that's how I left my virginity, and they were talking about how they were not healed, but they were dealing with like all of these emotions about a sexual encounter they had. But they were like, but we were like drunk, and it wasn't really forced, but I wasn't, and they were like trying to explain the situation, and it's like, yeah, that's gray rape, and
that is.
A gray rape is a person who has been assaulted, but they will feel the emotions of a survivor, but they don't know to classify it as rape because it does not fall under stereotypical rape circumstances, which, like, it's not violent and it's not a stranger and it's not all of these things. Like, maybe they know the person and maybe they were a little drunk and maybe they tried to be like, no, but the guy was just kissing them and so persistent they couldn't.
I think even with all the education, I think women should still be careful on what positions they put themselves into.
Tell me more. Because I want to ride with you on this, but it feels
no. Listen. I don't think it's right for a man to take a woman by force or by any way without it being mutual. I'm not here to advocate that or agree with it. I'm not apologizing for any man that does that. That's just disrespectful. But all I'm saying is that she just said that alcohol played into it, right? Alcohol played into it.
And sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes other things play into it, and I'm just saying that if you know that this is not the situation that you want to end up in.
So here's my question for you. What if you don't know? What if you don't realize in that point in time what you even truly want, right?
And then you just realize it at the last minute?
I don't know when the moment of recognition happens.
Or right before, or like you're like, I'm getting ready to do this, and then you're like,
if you I really don't want to. If you say no, then it means no,
and
right?
And you're right. And you're right. But that's where we're back to the gray area. Like, I don't know if that guy would get convicted of rape in that situation? He probably wouldn't.
Most likely not.
Well, okay, so we
so
have to,
with that being said, that maybe even the judicial system
I definitely
needs to get educated a little bit more.
Well, this is what it is, right? And it's very interesting. I was watching YouTube videos on this yesterday.
I love YouTube.
I love it. When it comes to like our judicial system, right? We have a system that is set up for failure when it comes to rape, and the reason why is this: our system is innocent until proven guilty, and you have to have substantial amount of evidence in order to convict.
So what, you think
individual.
It should be guilty until proven innocent?
No, but when it comes to rape cases, what people advocate for is believe the victim first. Believe the victim first. And never shame that victim. Automatically, that's a clash in communication, because this is innocent until proven guilty. This is believe the victim first, without any circumstantial evidence being presented.
But why should it be believe the victim first?
That is the advocacy for rape culture only.
That may be the advocacy, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's right.
This is where the conflict comes in at, and we have to find a solution for it. And the reason
why
is because and the reason and the sad thing about it though is that, so for instance, with murder cases, right? If you murdered somebody and I'm the prosecutor, she's the defense is going to do everything in their nature to get you off the case. The prosecutor is going to do everything in their power to get you persecuted, right? The defense is they're gonna badger the witnesses. They're gonna make you think that
dig up
your story. They're gonna do all of that. They're gonna do all of that.
I think the goal of the prosecutor
going to do all of that,
and the defense attorney is to get at the truth.
It should be.
No, that's incorrect.
Happens, right?
That's incorrect, because I work for an attorney and we do criminal cases, and we've had instances where, because we have to ask our, the clients will tell us whether or not they did the crime. Regardless of if they did it or not, your job, a
defense attorney's job, is to defend his
get
client.
Them off.
His fiduciary responsibility is to defend his client. That is your job,
to get them off. So when it comes
that is our judicial system, though.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It is already going against. It's already in a line. Our rape code is set up for failure, because in rape situations, there is very, very, it's very rare that there will be a substantial amount of evidence. It just is, and especially in grave rape cases where there's not violence involved, it will always be difficult to prove. Always. And what will happen is a person will come and they will get on the board, and the defense is going to do their job to protect their client, regardless if the client is a rapist or not. They're going to badger the victim. They're going to tell the victim you're a liar. They're going to use slut shaming. They're going to use their history against them. They're going to use all of these things against them, to a person who is already in an emotionally fragile state, who's automatically going to break down. And that breakdown is not going to be seen.
Well, that's afforded on both sides, and that's afforded to anyone to a defense. And our Constitution is set up so that we're entitled to a defense. And that's just how it is. But we got to go to a break. It's coming up right now for a second. So
all right, we're gonna get heavy into this when we get back. But yeah, we're gonna take a quick little break, and we'll come back. We'll get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, real deep.
Let's do it.
And I'm thinking, should I come through? Can I come kick with you? Him again, and I'm thinking about it's 2 a.m. and I'm stuck up thinking about the last time you were behind me, all in the mirror. I could see everything you would be doing. I could see everything looking at me like you love me. I know you don't love me. I never care long as I come first. You come on time, I reverse. You rewind, do it again. Stuck in time, do it again. All you ever say is come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. You don't ever come to me, hey. You don't ever come. Why you never come? Will you ever come and see me for once? Come and see me for once. Why you never come to me, no? Why you never come to me? Why you never come to me, no? It's my time, it's your turn. I know you're right. I know it burns to be in love. I know it burns to be another. One of your girls on the side like that. I know you're kind, how you lie like that. I know you're mine when you bite it like that. I know you're mine when you put it like that. Yes, you was right when you put it
Reality like radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Join Devon, 3 p.m. Pacific, each and every Friday from Los Angeles today. Purple nights and golden days. Ooh, he's so LA.
What up, LA? It's Mr. Vaughn, inviting you to join me every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific for Los Angeles Today.
Coming live and direct from LA Talk Live. Entertainment, sports, special guests, current events, and the hottest and latest in LA. This is where the twist goes down daily. Boss up with us. Boss up with us each and every Friday on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes R&B or check us out live on LATalks.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talks Live, and we're more than just talk.
Stay getting that work from California. And all the killers, they show me love in California.
You're a rich girl. Want to enrich in your radio listening? Do it now with the new WDC radio show, LA Talk Live's new talk, rock radio show, Saturdays 4 p.m. Pacific, filled with news, talk, sports, entertainment, and more. Tune in as we fill your weekend with rock and funk from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. WDC radio show. Listen as we kick off the new generation of radio with talk, rock, and funk. The all-new WDC radio show, Saturdays 4 p.m. Pacific on LA Talk Live.
Say, come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. You don't ever come to me, hey. You don't ever come. Why you never come? Will you ever come? Come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. Why you never come to me? No. Why you
Here we go again. We back for Los Angeles Today. Every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific.
What's up, you guys? Patrick here from Keeping It Candid. We have two amazing. You already introduced yourself. Why are you going to try to come after me?
Because I like to cut you off.
No, he is such a hater. Let me be great.
I'm a lover, not no hater. I don't hate nobody.
So
you always great, but you having a bad hair day. You already said that, so everything ain't great.
I got my hat on, y'all. I'm great.
I like
my
Elise's
hat,
hair though.
I know it's beautiful.
That's fly.
Young and wild and free.
Speaking of Elise,
just doing something.
Our other special guest, Elise, is here. Elise is a very, very amazing woman as well. She's an artist of many different platforms. And I invited Elise on the show today because she has this amazing event going on January 12th called Operation Consent, which is in alignment with what Keeping It Candid is about for this month. So I was like, girl, you got to come on this show.
Consent.
We got to get your opinions and values and perspectives and experiences when it comes to rape culture and, and get more information definitely on Operation Consent.
I just feel grateful to be here to talk about this. You know what I mean? I feel very humbled by that.
Let's hear about Operation Consent.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah. Operation Consent is this really cool interactive art exhibition. I started it in DC. It was kind of during the time that the Bill Cosby trial was going on and the whole Kesha Dr. Luke thing and the whole Ian Connor rape culture kind of all these rape apologists were all over Twitter well, this is the way that she was dressed and this circumstance happened and that's why this is happening. And it's just whoa, this is so crazy that all of you guys are saying all this random
victim blaming,
just apologists,
just ridiculous things, just trying to stand up for this kid that is a stylist, you know what I mean? Versus this woman that's still a human being, regardless. And her rights and her body has been violated and y'all are trying to tear these women down. You're standing for the wrong things.
Absolutely.
And you felt the need to say something.
I felt the need to say something, but I also just saw that a lot of other people were saying things. You know what I mean? Like, that was something that I feel like was like a major change, is that people seem to be ready for the conversation. Whereas the reason that rape culture society has been able to grow so prominently is because when something is said, like, people are silent about it. You know what I mean? Like, when you're that whole, like, locker room talk kind of perspective, whatever. I have been in a room, like, where my male friends are talking about women in a way, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, this is literally how y'all are speaking
Women
right now.
talk about men like that, too.
I mean, I'm not saying that, like, one or the other, but I'm just saying, like, I've been in, like, a situation where I've heard, like, a man say something in regards to, like, raping someone. And women do say stuff like that, too. And it's just, like, these are words that are coming out of your mouth and that you think are okay to say.
They actually said something about raping a woman?
Or, like, something.
Because I've never been
along the. No, I'm not saying that is locker room talk. I'm talking about it in terms of, like, with the quotations, like, referring to, like, the whole Donald Trump thing where he said that, like,
you grab a woman
by the, you know, pussy is, like, locker room talk.
He still got elected, so a lot of women didn't mind.
Exactly.
That's a whole other issue, though.
But
That is a whole other issue.
That's a whole other can of worms, but it goes into the rape culture society that we have, that these things have been able to be said and nobody says anything about them. And, like, I feel like there has been a strong curve, I would probably say, thanks to a lot of social media, because people feel comfortable at least saying things through that.
And the different forums.
Yeah, and just various different forums, you know what I mean? To, like, really be open to the conversation about, okay, what is consent really? You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people are actually just really confused about what consent is. So it's just like how people think.
And what do you say consent is?
I think consent is in everything, and at the end of the day, I think that consent is largely about communication. So if you're not sure, then you're asking. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, hey, can I touch you? You know what I mean? Like, you know how many people could walk up to me on a day-to-day basis and just put their hands in my hair?
Been there.
Why are you touching me?
That's fly. That's why.
Like, but it's fly. That's fine, and you can enjoy that.
They don't have
afar.
the right to do that. But I'm just saying that's
you
why.
Can enjoy. You can say like, "Oh, I really like your hair," or you can even just say, "May I touch your hair?" Give me the option to say yes or no. Because I'm a very open person about it. I don't mind people touching my hair.
But that's crazy though. Nobody should come up to you and touch your hair.
Nobody should.
That's violation.
I've literally been walking down the street in New York, and like a woman has come, and it's like raining. I've got like my umbrella,
white or black,
and a little old white lady has walked up to me. Like walked up on me when it's raining at night, and she just is like, "Your hair is so amazing," and like grabs like a fistful. First of all, sis, like I was wearing a wig.
I mean, Solange.
Second of all, like you, like why are you walking up on me? Like that's how people like get like hurt.
Beat
you know
down.
what I mean? Like,
Solange didn't come out with her song for nothing.
Yeah, like don't touch my hair. Like what are you doing? But like it all ties together. Like it's all within consent. Like just the same way that I want to be able to say yes or no to you touching my hair is the same way that I want to say yes or no to you touching my body. You know what I mean? The same way I want.
You are 100% correct in that.
Yeah.
That's how that should be at all times.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I guess, my viewpoint on consent and kind of why I got started, like, with the thought process of Operation Consent. So we got the show kind of undergoing in D.C., and it was, like, an amazing turnout. They were, like, I was actually really surprised at how many people were there. It was probably, like, over, like, 150 people over the course of the night, kind of, coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised at the ratio being so even, like, men amongst women. And like the age kind of was like very ranging between, like, I would probably say the youngest person there was probably around 14. The oldest person there was 65.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's a great turnout.
Yeah, so it was a very interesting kind of mixture of people that were there. And just to see like young men like coming into a space where it's usually seen as like a feminist thing, like you know what I mean, where it's just like, you know, a lot of men view feminism as like a man haters club.
SJW.
You know what I mean? Yeah, social justice warrior, whatever.
Women.
Well, that's and miseducation right there.
It's absolutely,
that's
and I think that like that's like such a really cool thing that like I want to implement, is that we are educating each other. You know what I mean? Like, and focusing kind of on that. Like, I feel like a lot of people, I think that's something that like I've learned to get out of is like arguing with people about things. especially when like I come from a space of trying to educate people and like trying to like bring some form of like evolutionary trait to like this planet. I don't know, like I want people to think a little bit more. So people will like tag me and stuff like that's like debates about, you know, consent versus this or like, you know, and I'm just like, I don't feel like I necessarily have anything to add to this conversation that nobody else is saying. You know what I mean?
Consent versus what though?
People will say like is
personal
it,
accountability?
Yeah, people will just like have like a post where like a guy is saying like if I buy her food, then she owes me sex. And it's
Negative.
like, how would you know what I mean? So somebody will tag me and be like, Elise, talk about this.
No,
and it's
they need to think about their sisters and their mamas. And that's
you don't have to just think about your sister.
Well, I'm just saying,
though,
that's not just because somebody buys you food, that doesn't entitle you to sex.
A human having rights.
Yeah, that's just basic.
Yeah, it's just basic human. Like you bought somebody food. Like if that's how you feel for real, like that's fine. Like if you feel
was
that
he joking or was he just serious?
I mean, I think that this person was probably serious. I don't know them. I was just tagged kind of like in the comment, and then they wanted me to like attack this person essentially.
Yeah, you was ready to
and
attack.
I was just, I'm like equipped to attack, but that doesn't mean that I have to waste my ammo. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's not how it should be.
Some conversations are just like not like worth it, but at the same time, like in those instances where people are like, oh, somebody owes me this if I do this, that's perfectly fine as long as you communicated that from the beginning. If you called me and you said, hey, Elise, I want to take you out to dinner, and you know, afterwards, I really do feel like I would like to have sex with
sugar
you.
daddy,
You know what I mean?
baby,
Like,
they have that all the time.
I feel like I am looking for some sort of intimacy in this relationship. Like, however you gotta word it to make it, you know what I mean, whatever for yourself. But like, the whole like trying
you should be clear on that.
Spit like game and shit. Like, it's like 2017. Like, let's put that away. Let's just be honest with each other. Like, I know if you're going to want to have sex with me, but I also know when I'm just in it for the food. So if I'm just here for the food and like you've communicated about dinner. So I'm here for dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you want something else, we can also communicate, okay, maybe that's not my space. Maybe I'm not on that level with you.
Right.
But at least like give people the opportunity to say yes or no, like beforehand until it gets to like an awkward moment where it's like, oh, okay, like
I'm ready to go home.
All right, well, I'm going to go home. And like, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll walk you home. And then I'll walk you to your apartment. And I'm like, why aren't you home yet? Like, I came here for, like, you said let's get dinner, not like let's get dinner and then you come up to my apartment.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all about intent,
you know what I mean?
right?
I have to ask you guys. Oh, what were you gonna say, Ashley?
I was gonna say it's all about intent, right? Like, did he buy you the dinner dependent on the fact if you were gonna get with him or not? Or
well, if that was his intent, he should have communicated.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the
There's
day.
websites for those type of arrangements. Just saying.
Just saying.
People do it all the time.
It's websites.
No,
yes,
really.
it is.
I mean, there is.
Like
you're
sugar
right,
baby
but
meat or sugar baby meat. It's something.
But
like,
you don't even eat websites.
But even, I mean, not even just like sugar baby situations. Like you have Tinder and like Grindr and stuff like that, which are essentially hookup sites.
Yeah.
Or I mean, you can find like dates or like people that you like, whatever. But like at the end of the day, there are so many ways to communicate. Like.
And we're candid. Like
that's why you say just go back to communicating consent.
The millennials are very blunt and bold.
Just go back to communicating consent.
Yeah.
We're either with it or we're not. I have a quick question though that I wanna ask you guys. It was very interesting because you brought up food, and so what's interesting?
It's my favorite topic.
Yeah,
me too.
Okay, so I want to ask you guys something. Are you guys vegan?
Vegetarian.
My dietary situation changes all the time.
On your mood, right?
I feel you.
I like that.
Honestly,
I can be like that.
I'm like the type of person that like I will go months and I won't like have any like meat or like any like animal byproducts, and then I'll be like, you know what? I'm craving a chicken patty right now. Like I need a wing.
What about a good steak?
I need a wing in my life.
What about a good steak?
Red meat, I already know how it like is. With like it just doesn't really work with me. It makes me feel like really heavy and sleepy.
Right. I was just asking.
It's like I'd rather just like
a good chicken wing.
I don't want to have a steak like.
A good chicken wing is not bad either.
But a good chicken wing.
Hold on, I want to ask you guys something. Okay, so I brought this up because a very interesting conversation was sparked, right? So like for the Keeping It Candid forums I host, we always do free wine and we do free tacos. We generally do potato tacos, but people from past, forums, they've been like, yeah, like we really like to have like a chicken option, blah blah blah. So me and my co-hosts are like, okay, sure, like we'll do it because it was going to be sponsored. We're like, okay, sure, we got a sponsorship for some chicken tacos, why not? So we made the event page for the rape culture, and there was like these, and so you can always tell, like when it's like a group of people that are part of the same activist group, especially with Keeping It Candid, because Keeping It Candid is a safe space created specifically for people of color. Most of our participants are African American and or Latino. We do have, other people of color, and we do have white participants that come as well, but when you come, like it's like the percentage is very small, like very, very small. So there was a white woman who posted inside of the event page, and she was like, hey, is the tacos going to be animal friendly? And I said, oh, we do have potato dealer tacos, but we also will be serving chicken tacos, and so there was maybe like 10 people who like hopped on the post, right? They were all white, and they were like, oh, well, like you shouldn't do that. It should be a vegan event because animals are inseminated against their will and impregnated, and and it is against violence. And I said, wow, that's so interesting. I never thought about that concept. And I said, that's very true.
Are we having chicken tacos or no?
So what was interesting though is I did have to press down hard on them, and the reason why is this. So when she was asking us the question, and we answered, and then she was, and one guy, he had posted like this very graphic image, and I said, I appreciate and admire your passion and compassion for animals, but what I do not appreciate and will not tolerate is the posting of graphic images, as it can be triggering, and also you don't need that to get your point across, especially in a space like Keeping It Candid that's created to heal people.
Keeping it passive aggressive a little bit.
Yeah. So
say what you need to say.
Yeah. So then,
just say it.
Then like. So this one girl, her name was Brittany, like she was like, oh, okay, well, thank you, Patriana. Well, she was asking me questions, and it was like white males, it was only them who was like continuously being aggressive, and posting comments. And so I turned the comments off, and I said, okay, I hate to do this to you guys, but I will turn the comments off in this post. And the reason why is because nobody has invalidated your concerns. We've clearly stated that thank you for the information, we did not consider it, and we will get together and try to find a solution. But if you continue to disrespect our wishes, what you will not do is come into a space of people of color and try to dominate that space. That's what we do not allow.
That.
You will be removed. And I was like, if you continue to post, your comment will automatically be deleted. You will be deleted, and I will screenshot your photo so that when you try to enter the form, you will not be allowed to. Because what you will not do is put the and so this white guy shared.
So we're having chicken tacos.
Can you stop? This white guy shared the event. Hold on. He shared the event, and he said, you guys, oh my gosh, I think that we should go to this event and we should set up. He said we should set up a projector. But wait, show images of animal rape, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, right? And so some people were like posting. Brittany, though, what they was not even aware of, Brittany had already messaged me which I told them to do. I said, if you guys have suggestions, message me. Brittany had messaged me. She's a white girl. She messaged me, and she was like, hey, I know that you probably don't know a lot of vegan alternatives, but like I can get vegan chicken donated, so that you can stay in alignment. I said, oh, well, we appreciate you providing the solution. Sure, let us know how many you can get, right? So then I hopped on his post, right? And I said, I'm gonna let you guys know right now what's gonna happen if you guys decide to come to this forum. One, you are going to stand out because you guys are non-people of color coming into a people of color space. Two, it will not be taken lightly. And the reason why is because you're coming into a safe space created specifically for people of color, and you're trying to dictate that conversation into another aspect. It's going to very much be seen as all lives matter advocates trying to impose their beliefs on Black Lives Matter advocates. We're not saying all lives don't matter, but this particular focus is on Black Lives Matter. So animal insemination is definitely important, and it's an aspect we did not consider. But you're not going to come and make this rape culture forum on human rape about animal rape. That's what you're not going to do.
Yeah.
That's two totally
it's
different
all about
things.
consent, right?
Yeah.
Like, same with rape culture. Like, you can't just walk into a
I said you're not going to do that. You will be forcefully removed.
There's two separate things.
And I said, and because and I'm just going to be candid with you guys, because you guys are white, it's going to turn into a racial issue. You're going to come in. And people are going to say, you white people are not going to come in here and dictate our space and use your privilege. And you're going to provoke an aggressive reaction that you are not ready for. And that's what I told them. And Brittany, I guess she's friends with them. Of course, she commented on the post. She was like, guys, like, I've already talked to Patriana, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and furthermore, Brad, I'm going to call you out because you have not contacted me. It's obvious to see.
Oh my
it's
God,
obvious to see that
funny.
I am the organizer. Not once did you come inside my inbox and voice concerns or provide a solution. All you did was go into the event, see that there was chicken tacos being served, and immediately shared this post in a derogative manner to rile people up, not knowing that Brittany, I said of about 11 people posted inside the forum complaining, but only Brittany actually contacted me and provided a solution, and she was met with no resistance.
I think that's the important thing right there is like being able to see like, okay, I can like, I'm upset about this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can kirk about this, but at the same time, like turning around and like thinking about helpful solutions to things.
Exactly.
Because like, I don't know all the answers to like how we can end rape culture. You know what I mean? And I can be upset about every Brock Turner there is.
But you have reason to be upset about that.
You know, and
it's
you
not
do.
In your
but
jurisdiction
I'm
of
just
power.
saying, like, I can be upset about every Bill Cosby case. I can be upset about all these things. But if I'm not doing anything, like anything at all within my power
but
to try to
on social media,
but try, you know what I mean? Just try to create something, like, you know what I mean? Like for me, it's like I want to create a safe space.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like safe spaces are my thing. I know that this is something that I'm good at. This is something that I can contribute to this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, of course, we do need like social media advocacy. Like it's a huge thing. We need information that's being like given out.
But you have to be careful in that. You can't just evoke anger. And I told them, I said, look, everyone who eats meat is not your enemy. And if you treat them as such, you're going to harm your cause.
Yeah.
You have to, and I said, some cases do warrant aggression. Trust me, they do. Like police brutality, sometimes they do warrant aggression. However, you have to be able to see which situations warrant it, because if you're just acting out aggressively, your passion will then be offsetting and you're not going to go anywhere. What you're going to do, what you're going to do is evoke violence. That's what's going to happen. I'm like, dude, that's dope. Like I didn't even think about like animals being raped. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to harass me about it. Now, if you provide a solution, we can have a conversation. But you're not going to sit there and you're not going to shame people for what they probably didn't even know.
I mean, and what if Brittany had never even like gotten into your inbox, or if she had never said anything to you? You know what I mean? Like, of those like 11 people, what if none of them said anything to you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, how would that situation have done, like, other than get everybody still more and more riled up?
It would have caught
it would have, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like
came to the space and it would not have been.
Yeah,
it would not have been taken lightly.
It's just important.
Assure that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like it speaks volumes about how you go about making a change.
Exactly.
Right? You can't just go out, be angry at someone for no reason.
You guys eat meat. You guys are animal killers. Like, you cannot do that.
You can't.
Unless you provide substantial evidence and that person is still like, nah, bro, I'm going to eat chicken. Oh, well. Then I can understand you being like, okay, I've showed you.
A lot of people will eat chicken anyway.
Know what I'm saying?
They're eating it anyway, just because they're angry.
But I'm saying that you can say like it's, I think that is very rare. For instance, I stopped eating chicken because someone did come to me and say, you know what? But not only did they just show me all this evidence, my thing was, girl, but you know, oh my God, this food is expensive. And you know what? They showed me options. No. Oh my God. And you know what? You can eat this, which is like, that it's gonna make you feel like meat, and it's not GMO, and it's organic still, and it's affordable. I'm telling you, this is that. You know, like, they provide solutions. You cannot come at people and, like, without even knowing their situations, and you're just like, I'm gonna down your throat. Like, bro, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. What's going to happen is you're going to make them rise up their backs against you. And if you are a non-person of color coming at a person of color like that, you're probably going to get your ass beat.
It's also just like a privilege thing. Like, it's such like a huge privilege thing to come into somebody's space and be like, hey, you're not eating the way that I eat, so this is an issue. But it's like, you have to think about things like in terms of, like, you have literal food deserts where it's like your closest grocery store is a 45-minute bus ride. And, like, within, like, that bus ride, the closest grocery store may not be, like, the one that is very, like, inexpensive. Or have organic. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or have organic, or, like, you know, like, you're not going to have a Trader Joe's everywhere. Right. Like, I really like Trader Joe's because it's hella cheap, like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I can spend, like, half what I would spend at Ralph's and get double the amount of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, it's economical issues.
You don't have, like, Trader Joe's, like, everywhere. And a lot. You don't have them everywhere. You don't have them in, like, rural, you know what I mean, places. You don't have them in, like, a lot of just, like, I guess urban, like, inner city. You don't have them in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have them in a lot of places. It's not accessible to everyone to be able to eat that way, like, affordably. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. The closest thing to me is the carryout or a McDonald's. Exactly. You know what I mean? So yeah, I eat chicken. So yeah, like, this person eats chicken nuggets.
And that's what I told them. Like, you cannot just do that. You know. But Brittany was respectable in her approach, and she provided the solution, which was not going to be out of pocket. She said, we'll get them donated. I said, perfect. And I said, but you guys are still not going to bring this up in conversation. And I will make a message that if you do, you will be forced to leave. But what I can do for you guys for donating is I will say, wow, you know, Brittany and, you know, her comrades made a very, very, you know, helpful attribution to this event, and that they provided vegan options. And they brought up a really interesting aspect that I encourage you all to research, is the insemination of animals. You know, I thought that was a really, really interesting aspect of rape culture that, you know, we did not think about. And so,
within that, real quick, I think you bring up a really good point, right? It's all about how do we adopt change to make sure that rape culture is something that hopefully one day we don't have to deal with. I think a really big part of that is making sure that the person who is perhaps raping, or the person that is the rapist, feels comfortable enough to make that change, right? So it's like, you wouldn't have felt comfortable enough to make the change on your Facebook page because you didn't feel like it was right? Yeah. But something that you stand up for, which is rape culture. Right. You know where that fine line is. You know what you won't stand for, and that's the reason that you're celibate. And I feel like as women, as men, as people who want to be more educated, it's all about us caring enough to make it an issue, and to make sure, because I'm sure that they came from a place of the heart. Just their execution,
your aggression. Do not be aggressive in all situations.
In the bed, in the forum, wherever.
Some people are unaware, like, even in that, like, he really like, that just may be the way that he has always gone about communicating things, like his issues.
I have to be aggressive
and like been like, you know what I mean, and that has like been how he gets through life. That's like the same with a lot of guys not understanding that, like, what coercion is and how that is a form of rape, and like coercion being like anything that is intimidating or threatening or trying to convince somebody. If somebody says no and you say,
thinking it's a challenge that needs to be
like, it's a challenge, I need to continue to try to touch her or something like that, or like pressure this person, well, you owe me X, Y, and Z. Like, it's all a part of it. So
you know, it's so unfortunate that you know, with rape culture, like I said, it's never enough time to discuss it, but I definitely will have you ladies back on the show. Before we close up, please tell us, how do we stay in contact with you?
So stay in contact with me. This is Ashley. I have a site called We Take Note. You can check us out there on Facebook and Instagram. We have a lot of great socially conscious issues there, so check us out.
Elise, tell us about how we stay in contact with you and how do we get more information on the show.
You can get information about the show on the I Cannot Complain website. It's ICNNTCMPLN. So I Cannot Complain, just like sans, like just without the vowels, .com.
Okay.
And you can kind of keep in touch with me via like Twitter or Instagram at Cyborg Shawty, like the robot, and Shawty as in SHAWTY. I'm from like Maryland, and like technically that's the South, so you know what I mean. Gotta keep that
That's
little
still the South.
Gotta keep it up.
So yeah, so that's how you keep in touch with me. Operation Consent is going to be on the 12th of January from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Club Pro LA. We're fundraising for a local LA organization, Peace Over Violence. So 50% of our proceeds are going to that.
Right.
That's
beautiful. That's real cool.
Yeah. So be there. It's going to be really cool. It'll be really fun.
Be there or be square. You guys know how to stay in contact with me, Patriana Jones of Keeping It Candid. You guys better be at Operation Consent and Keeping It Candid's forum on January 22nd, CLO Galleries. Go ahead and close us out, Mr. Vaughn.
Really cool event. And I'm Mr. Vaughn. You catch me every Friday on Los Angeles Today on LA Talk Live.
Twist goes down every Friday. Bye, guys.
See y'all next time.
Shit with my life, but waste no time on you. Got to move on, cause you got me fucked up. I am confused from this point on. Trust nobody, yeah. Out of my body, blowing my fuse. Devil, please cut me loose. Please cut me loose. Oh, come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. You don't ever come to me, hey. You don't ever come. Why you never come? Where you ever come?
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.